How surprised were you that the New York Giants went Daniel Jones at number 6?
I wouldn't say surprised as much as disappointed for Giants fans. I mean, if you watch the tape, this guy, listen, I've sat in a room with him. I've sat with David Cutcliffe, and he's explained how much he loves him, how smart he is, and he's a good guy. His teammates love him. He's competitive. He is a runner. He can run. But I see a backup quarterback in the NFL. And when you look at him, he's slow to process at times, inconsistent decision maker. He is, if we did statistics on all these quarterbacks, second to last of all the quarterbacks, talking about 15 draftable quarterbacks this year, second to last in terms of under pressure, which is the most important thing to evaluate with quarterbacks from college to the NFL. He was third.
Was Haskins.
He was first or second in all, first, second, or third in every single one of these.
Haskins was first, second, or third in every category.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. He was last in deep ball accuracy, third to last in inside the pocket, second to last in the deep out throw. I mean, I don't see what they see. So let's say you, philosophically, I get it. If you think he's going to be that kind of quarterback, yeah, sure, you take him at 6. But you also then have to manage the draft. That's the thing that Oakland has never done well with John Gruden, and John Gruden has never done well in his career. And that's why I thought they brought in Mike Mayock as GM is to be the rudder, to understand, all right, I know, John, you love Cleveland Farrell. That's great. But we can get him at 17, 18. Let's try to move back, or let's get a player of more value. For the Giants to pass up on Ed Oliver, defensive tackle, to pass up on Devin Bush, who's going to be a star linebacker for your Steelers, to pass up on T.J. Hawkinson, the tight end. I mean, the list goes on and on of players that they could have had. Josh Allen, the edge rusher from Kentucky.
Is it possible, Todd, that Gettleman, you hear his thick Boston accent, is actually a double agent trying to ruin New York? Is he there to undermine my favorite? Because, like, I'm joking around everything, but, look, I do this for a living. We do this for a living. You guys are sports fans. You have real-life problems and stuff. But when your favorite team is going to stink for years, that makes your life a certain percentage worse, right? Like, I'm not playing around. Like, my life is at least, like, 5% worse today than it was yesterday.
It's weird how mine's all of a sudden 5% better.
Yeah, that's funny. That's interesting the way that works.
For Cowboy fans, it's always 5% better because y'all are always disillusioned, particularly at the beginning of the season, so it means nothing to me. But go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Todd. Go ahead.
No, I think I made my point.
First, second, or third in every category, Haskins.
Yes.
What could you?
Kyler Murray and Haskins and Drew Lock, who's still
Let me ask a question. Let me ask a question here for Max, because see, we're all here for Max today. Okay, so any question that I ask probably is going to lead
therapy
trying to help him. It's a therapy session. Therapy. Dr. Smith is in the house. Here's the deal. Did the Giants have the worst draft last night of anybody? Is that fair to say, or was there someone that was actually worse than them passing up on Haskins for Daniel?
Yeah, it has to be, because at the end of the day, the most important position in sports is quarterback. And if you screw that up, then you're going to struggle for years to figure it out. Now, they've got Eli, and they think he can play at a high level. but that maybe tells you what the problem is.
Yeah, that's right. If you have a GM and a team who thinks Eli Manning is going to play at a high level now, they should not be entrusted with drafting your next quarterback.
I think they fell in love with the Mannings. They love Eli.
That's where I was going, because he, devoid of all the emotion for a second here with Max. Here's the reality. I think the crime in all of this is that it seems like they made a pick the Mannings were comfortable with.
Yes.
And that had no place in this decision. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, he looks like a Manning. His mechanics are identical to the Mannings.
Which
he was
one?
Coached by...
It's like a big difference. Is he Eli or Peyton?
Yeah, but they both kind of look the same in terms of their mechanics. Their end result isn't always the same, but they look the same mechanically. He looks like Eli physically. You know, the tall, lanky guy. Everything about it is perfect, and he can be kind of controlled and managed.
Todd, you brought this up a moment ago. There were 2 moments in the draft last night where jaws dropped, where people were like, I can't believe they just made that pick at that moment. One, obviously, is Daniel Jones to the New York Giants, but the other was right before that. That was the Oakland Raiders taking Cleveland Farrell at number 4. Where did you have him rated?
I had him rated in the 20s, the low 20s. Yeah, I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's 4. You have Josh Allen still there, Ed Oliver I mentioned. You've got so many other players that they could have had. Now, in their defense, they tried to move back and couldn't get a deal, and that's all fine. But I'm going back to Daniel Jones. Forget it.
All right, fine. All right. We can do this.
Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, every single one of the top quarterbacks you can think of, they all have one trait that's similar. They're assassins. I mean, they'll take you out and they won't think twice about it. Daniel Jones is a really good guy. You'd love to sit in a room with him, talk to him. Smart guy. Picks things up quickly. I don't think he has that. I think he's missing that. And I think that outside of the physical stuff, that to me is the thing that scares me. I just don't see that.
Well, he doesn't have the pedigree in a big-time conference in big games. He doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have the. He processes slowly.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the killer's mentality. And you have him slated. He was a zero-star recruit basically. And you
that
have
wasn't
him,
me. That was high school. But
high school.
yeah,
Okay,
I had him
right,
like
going
59 overall.
You have him 59 overall, and you project him as a backup starter in the NFL.
Yeah, backup could develop into an average starter.
Well, that's just great. That's great.
All right, Todd.
Wasn't much debate. By the way, congratulations.
For me, I deserve a congratulations. Devin Bush, the Steelers moving up 10 slots and getting Devin Bush at number 10.
You just got your leader of the defense for a decade.
We're all good.
I think I speak for all Dallas Cowboy fans.
We're all good.
Fans of the NFC East, fans of the NFL. We appreciate you this morning, Todd.
How does Haskins project as an NFL player, Todd?
A good starter.
Yeah, good starter. Okay.
Thanks, Todd.